Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Tenuous at Best, episode 6. I'm Vandal K. I'm here with the mighty Zane and a guy who keeps turning a clock every week, Time Lord, otherwise known as D. This week,
Hello.
this week we've got some chat about, well, some Comic Con, obviously. Can't avoid that. And a rather dry sequence of gaming news, which we'll get to as well. So, shall we go around the table? Mr. D, how are you?
I was I was fine, and now I'm just giggling because you're like, because we've got some chat about Comic Con, obviously.
It's everywhere though. It is bloody everywhere.
There's fuck all else to talk about this week
Well,
again.
we're quite glad of it, I'll be honest, because this is the podcast that is the worst timed thing known to man, because literally we went, hey, let's start a new podcast. Yeah, gaming news, that'd be awesome. And then nothing happened in gaming, unless you care about, I don't know, somebody hacking somebody that you don't know. I don't, but there you go. How are you, Zane?
I am not too bad, man. I am not too bad at all. More importantly, after what, 6 episodes so far, 6 1-hour episodes, which will incidentally take you 11 and a half hours to watch. No one's actually asked how you are. How you doing, man?
I'm always fine. The fact about it is, no one ever worries about the guy that doesn't shut up. It's the quiet ones you've got to worry about. I ain't about to do any damage anytime soon. But
I thought I better
no,
ask, and let's be clear, it's never going to happen again. That's it. It's your only chance. So.
no, I appreciate that. And we have to go into the Twitter sphere and just find somebody that I find a bot that will ask me how I am. That kind of keeps me going for the most part. No, I'm fine. Thank you very much for asking. So I guess we should just punch right on. Shall we start with games news?
Oh, why the hell not? That'll be
Alright,
pretty
so-
quick at least.
It will be. So we've got 10 minutes of this. All right. So moving quickly and swiftly onward, we shall get into this. Valve issues notices to CS:GO gambling sites. I did not know about this. Who wants to cover this one off?
Marty.
I'm covering this. Fair enough. Yeah, well, there really isn't too much to say other than, well, one, thank fuck. But yeah, Valve basically sent out notices to, I think it was something like 23 sites, just saying what you're doing actually violates our terms of service, just to let you know. So if you don't bring the sites down within 10 days, there will be actions taken. And you're like,
Oh, cool.
So we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, didn't we, with regards to what kicked off with regards to a couple of players who had been promoting this site and hadn't declared. Not only were they kind of just sponsored by them or whatever, they actually set up the business and effectively owned them as well.
Yep.
Yes.
So they basically kicked up a stink off the top of that, and the fact that it was leading to potentially kind of promoting gambling amongst younger ages and so forth. And this was just about the trade of the skins within the game Counter-Strike. So for some reason, people desperate to get that shade of green on your boots that you just couldn't get in the actual game, you could kind of gamble or pay for those.
Amazing. But I tell you what, people will always find a way of working systems to work in their favour.
yeah. I mean, it's one of these ones I feel that we should be saying, well done, Valve. You're doing the right thing. But it's like, well done, Valve. You're doing the right thing after a civil
Months.
orders taken up, and everything in the news is done around and calling news. Everything in our local sphere, I should say, is turning around and calling these absolute bastards for allowing this to happen in the first place. Turn around and do the right thing. So, well, yay for peer pressure, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's when we did cover.
They've not done it off their own back, though. They
no.
themselves are facing legal action, and that's
No.
the only reason why they've taken the action. So
Yeah, no, exactly.
Zero credit to them.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Is like, yeah, yay for peer pressure, because it's not down to Valve for doing the right thing because they felt like they needed to do the right thing. It's just due to the shitstorm and trying to prevent the court action before it actually comes up in the first place. That's causing them.
It's
Causing
damage
them to actually
control.
do this. That's exactly what it is.
And at the end of the day, and you go, sorry.
However, it's the right thing to do, so I'm not going to complain too much. As we said at the time, talking about this a few episodes back, like the only people that are using these sites to gamble, as far as I'm concerned, are kids, because anyone who's over the legal age and is able to gamble online or otherwise is going to
Is
do it,
gambling.
and is going to do it on proper sites and going to do it with proper money. They're not going to go through all that rigmarole. So anybody that wants to tell me this is for anything other than kids can shut the fuck up, quite frankly. And I am so glad to see that these sites hopefully are going. That was issued on the 20th of July. And they had 10 days basically to respond before Valve would take whatever actions it is they intend to take. Who knows what that actually implies. So, you know, I'm sure these sites still exist. I'm sure they're riding it out for the next 3 days, but it'll be interesting to see what happens after that period. Roll on the 30th.
See, Twitch have also suspended one of the guys' accounts as well with regards to gambling. So he's been taken off. He's got, like, I don't know, over 1 million subscribers on Twitch. He's the seventh largest subscriptions in the whole service.
Wow.
Oh dear.
Well, at the end of the day, I think it's important that these guys get repercussions because, as you say, it's exploiting kids or allowing kids to exploit their own situations of kind of, oh, you can't gamble, oh, now I can. And it's also got this kind of thing attached to it where if you don't make examples of these guys, they'll just bend the letter of the law or just get close enough to it that it's immoral but probably quite legal.
Yeah.
And that's what you've got to watch. So it's good that they just kind of go, see you, your career's over.
No, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I mean, I should make it clear that I have no particular issue with gambling, and it's, you know, per se on
it's
its,
like
on
anything
its
else.
own.
If you're responsible and adult, go for it.
Especially, I mean, here in the UK, there's a bookmakers in every corner. You cannot move for them. Every pub that you walk into has a puggy, as we call them, his slot machines.
Slot machine
in the corner. It's like gambling is very common here especially, and at the end of the day, it's regulated, however, and it's regulated for a reason. And it's really not something you should be doing at 12 years old, 13 years old, I should say, rather. So yeah, absolutely, I think it's.
But I'm going to raise an argument here. Is there a chance that I'm going to get punched in the face for this off the internet? The entire internet's going to punch me in the face for saying, should a 12-year-old be playing a game like Counter-Strike where you've got a large part of your game you're just murdering people with knives?
Oh no, of course couldn't, and that, I mean, that is a whole separate issue, and it is one that needs to be addressed. I think it's something that's slightly less critical.
Concerning?
Yeah, but I mean, it is. Oh, I mean, there is absolutely an issue there that 18 rated games, etc., can just be purchased by ticking a tick box that says you are over 18. I mean, yeah, there's no doubt that is an issue in its own.
I think the thing is as well, it's like the rating system's an odd one because we all know, like everybody knows, like nieces or nephews or whatever that are like 13, 14 and they play these games, and some of them you go, they're fine with it, they're emotionally and mentally mature enough to understand what that it is a game and it doesn't attach to them in any way, and you've got other ones who you go, don't let them near something that incendiary because they're crazy already. Oh yeah, so it's hard to attach age to things, I think.
Absolutely, but that's where at the end of the day, an age restriction doesn't say that they can't play that game. In theory, an age restriction is there to inform parents, and that, you know, it's harder now with everything being online. But at the end of the day, that's how it's supposed to work. Is like an 18 age restriction on a game is to stop a 13-year-old walking into a shop and buying Grand Theft Auto or whatever else. But if a parent wants to go in because they think their kid's mature enough and they pick up the game for them and then take it home for the kid to play, it's absolutely fine. Absolutely no issue with that at all either, because yeah, that's exactly what it comes down to. If you believe your child is mature enough to handle it, then you're perfectly within your rights to let them play it. But they shouldn't be able to walk into the shop, pick it up themselves.
Yep. Thoughts?
It's a broad discussion that you could go on for hours about, I suppose, but the age restrictions are there for a reason. I kind of totally appreciate that different kids have got different mental standings at different ages, and some could kind of tell the kind of difference between right and wrong a little bit more, and more will be more influenced by certain actions. But yeah, the age restrictions are there for a reason. It's up to the parents to kind of implement them. They're clearly not, and you only have to go onto Xbox and play Call of Duty for kind of 10 minutes online to understand the type of children we're talking about.
Do you know the weird thing about it is though? The thing that actually upsets me more about gaming is the amount of these wee boys that you go on playing Call of Duty, and the amount of them that are out there that have had sex with people's mums. It's like unsurmountable numbers.
Maybe it's them that's buying the game for them.
That's how it's working. That's how they're getting around it.
It's their friends' mums.
You think their friends' mums could put a line on at the bookies for them? And we wouldn't have all these problems. But yeah,
Sorted.
yeah, I didn't mean to get into such a heavy duty kind of conversational piece, but I just thought it worth asking in that context, you know?
The funniest piece for me has always been, it's kind of in movies as well, from I suppose an American point of view, but in games where people seem to be more concerned with sexual depiction rather than violence. And
Yes.
I find that a strange one where it's like you can kind of run about, shoot folk, blow up people, stab them, do
If a
whatever
nipple
you
slips
do.
out.
Yeah, but if you get a nipple or kind of take a hooker home, I mean, the Grand Theft Auto one, was it Coffee Time? That was kind of one of the biggest ones for that.
Yeah,
where it
hot
was like,
coffee.
oh my God, my child has got a hooker in a car type of thing. You're like, that's great. He's just taking a 6 gauge to the back of somebody's head, you bloody idiot.
Yeah, and somehow you're worried about him paying for sex. That's the kind of thing you hope he does when he's older.
Yeah, it's
He's
just
still shooting.
yeah, he's just taking it sort of Polis with a rocket launcher and machine guns, but oh my God, he can take a hooker home and
He paid a woman for
Fair
sex. I can't remember who the comedian was, but he said something along the lines of, and it was on the same kind of vein as saying people always have a problem with people taking hookers home for sex. But at the end of the day, you're always going to pay for sex anyway, so you might as well pay for it straight up front. It's like, welcome to Grand Theft Auto, mate.
Shoot the hooker in the stomach by all means, but no, don't touch her there.
I think this is where Zane pulls in the "Don't be a dick" card.
plenty of time for that.
Awesome. So moving swiftly on to a world much more innocent than Grand Theft Auto, child gambling and bizarre nudist hookery deals.
But I'm sure we can turn it dodgy anyway.
That's true.
Tummy tickles.
Oh, mate, that's so dark. That's so dark. Jesus. Moving forward, we have Nintendo NX have got a portable console. Has anybody read about this?
Nope.
I think it's kind of rumours that have resurfaced, but seem to be. I think at this point you can pretty much take it as read. The rumours just keep kind of recirculating and recirculating. Nintendo haven't actually said anything yet as to what this console is, but the NX is coming out on March next year, March 17th.
It's got to be built by now, is it not?
Yeah. So this was the latest one. I believe it was Eurogamer yesterday kind of put up a big article, which has just kind of sparked the whole thing off again, saying what the console actually is, and it seems to be not a console. It's
Like a service thing?
It's a handheld. It's a handheld console powered by NVIDIA's Tegra
The dreams of children.
chips. Yeah. And the
Powered by
sides,
hooker's tears.
the sides of the sides of the handheld basically detach, and you can attach the main bulk of it where the screen is. You can attach to your TV, and the two
What with Velcro?
two sides of the control. The two sides just become two separate controllers. So it's essentially a handheld that you can hook up to your TV.
Is that not like one of those Android devices you get, or like a Shield or something like that?
It's powered. It's going to be powered by the same chipset. Yes,
Chipset.
yes, Miss Moneypenny. It's going to be powered by the same chipset. Chipset as the Shield. So I mean, it is essentially a similar kind of idea.
That's weird, isn't it?
So
Is it-
it's kind of interesting. I mean, they're not, as usual. It's Nintendo being Nintendo. Like they're not trying to pull for the most powerful machine or anything else. They just seem to be going for what can we do that's a bit different.
It's certainly good. I'll give them that much. I mean, the Wii when it came out was revolutionary. I think would be an appropriate term, because I've seen so many things fly out the door and end up in people's living rooms. Became part of the karaoke party.
Yeah, I mean that's it. I mean it did. It kind of foisted everybody else into this race where PlayStation are suddenly coming out with the Move controllers, and Xbox's Kinect was pretty much born from the same thing. It was all because of the Wii and yeah. So it's interesting to see that kind of taking a different move for it. I've not played. I mean, I think N64 was the last Nintendo console I actually owned. So I don't know whether I would get it or not. Although the idea of having this kind of handheld console where I could come into yours and you literally plug the main box into the TV, break off the two sides of it, hand you one, and you've got instant couch co-op.
That's pretty cool.
Just like that is a really smart idea. Power-wise, graphics-wise, you're talking about something. I mean, if it's gone by the Shield, you're talking about something it's more powerful than your PS3 and your Xbox 360. It's not up there with
Current
gen models, but possibly that's why they're waiting. You know, the Tegra X1 chip that's been used for NVIDIA's Shield.
He's looking at you as if he's just making this shit up now.
It's been out for about a year now, so maybe,
The Leopard 15 is a good chip.
yeah, I mean, maybe the reason they're holding off is there's
Wait,
a
next
new
generation chip.
there's a new one in the works. Maybe that's what NVIDIA are working on at the moment. So don't actually know what the power of this thing's going to be. I still doubt it's going to be. It's not going to surpass Xbox, Xbox One or PlayStation 4. I'd seriously doubt, because it's just it's a mobile based chip at the end of the day, and that's what it's kind of designed to do. But it might get there. It might get to the point where it is as powerful as them, just as the other two consoles are about to move past that. But I mean, it's still going for a different market. It's still going primarily handheld, but it looks of it.
Yeah, I heard lots of chat previously. I think around about E3 when we were expecting to see the NX, then they kind of said that we're not going to be showing it. There was a lot of chat about, is it very cloud focused? So it's going to be cloud processing,
Apparently,
which is a bit of a strange one because I mean, obviously we've not really got a lot of examples of cloud processing in games. You hear a lot kind of about the destruction in Crackdown 3 on the Xbox One, for example, but it's one of those things that's kind of bells and whistles thing, not really a straight up graphics thing. The latency for rendering and stuff would be a nightmare, so it's a bit of a weird one.
the other thing with it that kind of came out is they're fully expecting it again. This has been rumoured for a while, but this is about as concrete as it's come so far, is to say that it's going to be cartridge based. Games for it are going to be on cartridges.
Does that not instantly fuck the digital download situation?
Well, I mean, I guess.
Maybe you get blank cartridges then?
No, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You've got to wonder what sort of memory's in it and what that does for cloud gaming and for downloads and things. But it's an interesting way. I mean, I quite like the idea. At first, you're sitting going 2017 and we're going backwards, we're going to cartridges, but flash drives and everything have come on so long, so far from then, the amount of space you can have on these things. Although for some reason they seem to be that Nintendo were recommending 32 gig, which for a game these days isn't actually that big.
No.
But it's not.
But when you get shitty texture packs, it won't matter.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason why they can't make them bigger. There's no reason why they can't be 64 or whatever else. It's if that's just recommended, whatever the hell that means. So, and I'd certainly wouldn't mind getting back to a style of gaming where you just plug it in and it's switch it on and it's there and you've got no loading times and there was a lot of good things about cartridges.
But the hardest thing is that you can't blow on a CD when it doesn't work.
Aye, like having to take a thing out and blow on it 16 times is back to Grand Theft Auto and the hookers, but never mind. That could certainly be a bit annoying, but yeah, there's certainly a lot to be said for cartridge gaming.
D, any thoughts?
I could just pretty much reminds me of kind of Game Boy days. Yeah, oh my God, let me articulate that better. Game, bam, bam. Game Boy days. Oh my God.
Right,
Game Boy days.
We've got an episode title. The Game Boy days.
That's the only kind of cartridge system I ever had, was when I had a Game Boy.
Right.
So I never had like kind of the older Atari consoles or anything like that. So yeah, I played Tetris and Paperboy. I think it was that a game?
Paperboy, yeah.
So yeah. Otherwise, I really don't give a shit. It's kind of archaic. And if you brought around your handheld console with your revolutionary controllers that disconnected from the consoles, I would slap you in the face and switch my Xbox on and tell you to shut up and sit down and play that. Is what I think.
But then he'd be sitting there playing a game while your Xbox updates.
Okay, I mean, well, yeah. What we're going to play on? What we're going to play on couch co-op on the Xbox?
Halo.
Mate, there's plenty of games.
Just Halo.
Go on, name them. Not all of them, boys.
I'm begrudgingly going to say FIFA.
Yeah, I mean, like,
How to Survive. Get up you.
I mean,
The Get Up edition.
they did bring out a second edition of that. I don't think that's what it was called though. But yeah, I mean that's the thing. It is a kind of lost art. It's like there really aren't that many couch co-op games these days. Which is
Worms.
Worms. Well,
Actually, speaking of this,
couch co-op.
Speaking of this, actually, this is something that we were talking about previously. Is that Battlefront's just released a new skirmish mode that can be played offline, split screen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically a horde mode for Gears kind of style, but just against like stormtroopers stuff. But it sounds to be like a lot of fun. I was strongly considering buying, which I probably will end up buying Battlefront because that's been released.
Yeah, I still want to buy it.
Oh, it's like 15 quid. It's worth it for that.
Yeah, I did buy it, and I still want to buy it.
Is the skirmish mode an extra cost, or is that free DLC?
I have no idea. I don't look at that game. I pretend it doesn't exist.
That's some dark times.
Piece of shit game.
I think on the Nintendo thing, just back to swing us back round away from the tenuous that we've put in here, is the last time I spent any time with a Nintendo was the Wii, and it belonged to a friend that, and it was, I'd got a game for that I wanted to try it that looked really good. Was it Resident Evil Overkill or something? It was a kind of light gun game almost, like a rails shooter. Kind of like advanced duck hunt of sorts. House of the Dead, that kind of idea.
Oh, aye.
And I
LA Cops. Co-op shooter, sorry.
All right, it's still there, okay.
Yeah, I'm not subtly giggling in the corner.
The game looked like it was like an arcade from like the late 90s, you know, the kind of Nintendo 64 Virtua Fighter type graphics. And the frame rate in this game was chronic. I mean, it was only available on the Nintendo Wii, and it was just this chronic kind of bit of, it was horrible. So yeah, I kind of don't really care about Nintendo too much myself. I'd be more inclined to buy that cheap NES they've just released, the kind of Raspberry Pi based NES or whatever it was. 30 games. I'd more inclined to buy that than I would be a new Nintendo.
Yeah, if they bring out a SNES version of that, I might think about it, but no, my nostalgia buttons are.
Oh, you make a good point. Actually, NES is really the crappy looking one, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the games were good at the time, but there's a lot to be said for nostalgia and keeping it as nostalgia.
Don't meet your heroes. Just do not go back.
When you actually pick these things up and start playing them again, well, not so much.
Have you done that recently? Like a game that you thought that looked amazing, we tried back? Obviously, we did Red Dead last week. We were talking about how good that actually held up.
Yeah, I mean, it still actually is good. No, not recently. I can't think of anything that I've picked up.
Wait to rub it in, guys. Thanks.
What? Oh, right, I forgot about this. Man, I would have given £25 to make that joke. Sorry, I'm actually in the layer of the D and I'm going to get injured for this. I was going to suggest, I was going to ask you, D, was there any games you've played recently that you kind of, like you loved and you saw again and went, that's nowhere near as good, that's a kind of bunch of shit? And
not recently. I'm going to start now. I've seen the kind of the catalogue for backwards compatibility. I might start sniffing about a couple, but it does remind me of going back to when they did Secret of Monkey Island on the 360. And that was one of my all-time favourite games, bar nothing at that point. And I was just so disappointed. It's just because of the sluggish pace of it all, and it's just it doesn't translate to kind of modern day gaming as far as I'm concerned, which is a shame.
So it's more down to just kind of you get used to the kind of faster paced everything, and then that game's very laid back and.
Oh Christ, yeah.
Yeah. What was the other one I was thinking about? Oh, have you guys seen that Sonic's getting a Sonic Mania in 2017? Does anybody care about Sonic? I thought Sonic was okay. I never thought, oh my god, I love Sonic. But everybody seems to be having a fucking cow about this.
I've never owned a Sonic game. I might have played it once or twice. All of that kind of comes together to basically I don't give a toss.
Zane, do you care?
Nah, not particularly. Sonic was another one at the time. It was absolutely fantastic because you'd never seen anything move at that sort of speed and that
Yeah.
kind of as smoothly as it did. And yeah, there was a technical brilliance to Sonic, but as far as actual gameplay goes, and I know I'm going to get shouted at by so many folk for this, but fuck it, Sonic, nah, like it really was just push that button and hope to hit the finish line without dying. It just.
It didn't feel like an achievement. Although it was, you go
Aye.
back to these games. This is when games were really, really fucking hard. Though you'd kind of like you'd slog in at them for hours, and you get 3 lives, and that's it. The world today of you get killed, just go back. You get killed, you go back, and I'm grateful for it. Don't get me wrong, but it's just a very different situation. You used to complete an entire game with 3 lives, maybe the odd extra life.
Yeah. Nah, so I think Sonic deserves its place just from a technical standpoint, but from a gaming standpoint.
Now you can just press anything to continue.
Aye,
You certainly
that's
can.
right.
Oh, Vince. We'll go back to that later on. I like that product placement. Okay, moving quickly on then, seeing as we don't care about Nintendo and our nostalgia engines are full of bananas. Product placement, like it. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that, I'll be honest with you. Kind of at a loss. But yeah, so games out this week. Do we have anything new coming out? Other than the only thing I've seen is one of you nice people wrote down that We Happy Few has actually arrived on game preview and early access.
Yeah.
Is there a game preview early access thing on PlayStation as well?
No. I don't,
Okay,
even, I don't even know. Is this game even coming out on PlayStation?
I thought it was. I didn't know if it. I didn't know
I
that.
couldn't actually tell you. But yeah, it was released.
Is that out now?
Apparently so.
Because
Well,
I was interested in that because of its kind of Bioshockism.
yeah, you'll hate it, dude. It's not your type of game, trust me.
It's not.
No. No, that's the thing.
Yeah,
It's
it looks like Bioshock, but it doesn't play like it.
yeah. A lot of folk have been kind of annoyed, shall we say, by the whole release of this. That it's basically a
It's a survival game, isn't it?
survival manager, sleep manager, thirst manager, hunger, while running about trying to collect stuff to craft type.
Fucking.
Random,
So
sorry,
basically
procedural in a procedurally generated area game. It's yeah,
A Clockwork Minecraft then?
pretty much. It's Minecraft, DayZ, Rust. Well, single player DayZ, single player Rust type game. It's not. It's not a very story driven game the way it looked gone by the E3 trailer.
Yeah. I did worry about that because I remember watching the videos years ago with like say Jacksepticeye and all that playing it and thinking, this looks okay, but I don't think it's got legs. And then at E3 you saw all the kind of trailery stuff and I thought, I bet you after that cutscene's all done, you're just left out in the world.
That's pretty much exactly what happens. So you start off and it starts exactly what you saw in the trailer at E3. That demo that they showed, so you're looking through the newspapers and either redacting stories or accepting the stories. And it's got one nice wee touch where it comes up with a choice and you can take the joy, you can take the pill or not take the pill. And if you take the pill, then everything just becomes nice and bright on the screen and you go about doing the papers and the credits roll.
Oh, that's cool.
Game over. If you don't take it, you then go through that sequence of walking through, seeing the guy doing
Pinata and all
something
that.
strange, getting to the dudes with the pinata, and then getting thrown out into the real world, and then the game actually starts. My issue with that is like the bigger talking point for this is just early access in its entirety. It's like, what do you think of this whole thing? This idea of just putting out a game. This one, for example, is there's less than 50% of the game is finished, or rather, about 50% of the world is finished. And the actual storyline. Apparently, there is a storyline in this game. Whether it's kind of similar to what you see in that first 10 minutes or not is not quite clear, but I presume it's a bit more kind of interactive like that. So there is a storyline that's going to be implemented, but it's not there yet.
I don't know. Dee, what do you think? What do you sorry, Jane? Just to quickly check
No,
with you,
get
you've been watching that clip there. What do you think of it? And now that you've heard that as a breakdown, does that put you off of it, or are you still going to give it a spin?
To be honest, just watching this kind of gameplay stuff by itself, with coupled with what Zane's saying, it just doesn't look anything. It doesn't look like a modern game, let alone anything else. But was this not an indie title?
Yeah, it's the company's only had one. I think they had one release, a game called Contrast, previous to this, which
I
was
played that.
a
That was a really nice game, actually, really nicely
ah,
put together.
beautiful looking game, and it's got a kind of similar look to this, although it was kind of 2D platformy kind of thing. Yeah, it's got a kind of similar look. That like they do make nice looking games, and that is not to say that this won't be a good game, but it's certainly not what you saw at E3. Like, it's certainly not what they gave you the impression the game was going to be. For one thing, and now you can buy it because okay, on the Xbox with the whole early access thing, you can download it and play it for 2 hours, I believe it is.
Okay.
And then you have the choice. You can pay the money and buy it in that state that it's in, or you can just go, oh, that's cool, and
Walk away.
walk away from it and play it when it comes out. On Steam, you just buy the early access. Like, there's no kind of demo or anything else. You just get it, and it does have its fans. Absolutely, there's plenty of folk on Steam giving it rave reviews. So yeah, there's certainly a market out there for it.
Yeah.
One
So-
of my issues basically with this whole early access thing is it's not just the fact that you're buying an unfinished product. It's the fact that when you go into Steam, it's shown it's marketed just as buy this game.
Yeah.
Whenever you go into it and check, there's all the disclaimers telling you at the time, but yeah, it's marketed to the mass public as buy this game. It's marketed same when you go into Xbox. Yeah, it's get the preview and whatever else, but you're paying for the game up front when it's less than 50% finished, and you've got no idea if it's going to be finished. And in some cases, that can be a good thing. You might be able to help. Yeah,
Get it over the line, yeah.
yeah. Some companies are quite good at taking feedback and adjusting the game based on like feedback they get from folk playing these kind of early access things. But majority of the time, that's not really what's happening. And a lot of the times, you're basically paying for something so that they can actually finish the game. So you're no guarantee that it's going to happen. So if you don't buy the early access, the game's never going to get finished in the first place, which is just
A vicious circle.
yeah, I mean, that's just wrong. In this particular one, there's a guy, I don't know if you know Jim Sterling on YouTube.
I recognise the name, but I'm
Yeah,
not actually familiar with him.
If not, check him out. Absolutely awesome. But he did a video on this, and he actually voiced the character for this game. He paid into put money into the Kickstarter for it. Really kind of liked the idea of this game. Got behind it in a big way, to the point, like I say, he actually voiced the character. And he did a video on it on this early access preview that's come out, and in it you'll see him play through it. And he's had to cut the video down quite a bit, but as you're going through missions, part of your missions are where you need, in order to get across a bridge, you need to pay a toll of honey for whatever reason. In order to get the honey, you need to go to a honey tree, which is obviously being guarded by bees. So in order to get the honey, you need to build yourself a padded suit, beekeeper suit, essentially.
This sounds like the same game mechanics from Island Dizzy in 1982.
Yeah, pretty much. So he then spends the rest of the time running about, breaking into the houses, checking all the chests of drawers and everything else, grabbing people, knocking them unconscious and searching their bodies. And eventually gets to however long in the video where he just goes, right, I'm done. I have searched every single house. I've knocked out God knows how many people. I have done this. I still need 2 scraps of cloth to actually make this suit. And there's nowhere left to search. There's nowhere else. I'm done. It can't be done.
Because the game's procedurally generated, it didn't generate the content.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, if you're going to have a procedurally generated algorithm, at least make sure it's intelligent enough to put in enough of a particular thing that you need
To progress.
to actually progress in the fucking game.
That's game breaking at the end of the day, isn't it?
Exactly. And folk will go, well, it's early access and that's the sort of thing you can finish. You go, no. That is broken. That is fundamentally broken. You cannot complete fucking thing, and that should be tested before it ever gets to the stage of give me £22 for it, please.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing for me with game, the kind of, if you're going to do that, kind of your game's incomplete, at least have very obvious barriers where the value sits. So, for example, if you've only made 5 levels out of your 10 level game, when you get to the end of that 5th level, there should be a big fucking placard saying, "This is as far as we've got, guys. Thanks for playing." That's what it should be. It shouldn't be this kind of, it's vaguely not functional. I think that's bullshit.
Yeah.
But I'll see what another thing is. I mean, I've bought a few games in early access just because it was purely because I just wanted, it piqued my interest, and I didn't care if it was cost me 20 quid and wasn't ideal. I bought The Long Dark, which I've probably put 30, 40 hours into tops, and that's a really good game. I mean, even the incomplete version of that is really well considered, and it's atmospheric and it's creepy and lovely. I don't know if you guys have tried it out.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a low poly kind of like Arctic. It's kind of the snowy hills in Canada kind of thing. I'll be up in the middle of nowhere, and it's all procedurally generated again as well. And you basically can wander about. So you can wander about. You're just trying to find like shelter. You're looking for things that you can burn in stoves when you find little cabins, and you can find big industrial buildings that got nobody in it, and you can get chased with wolves and all this. It's just a basic survival game, but I really enjoyed that. And I would totally recommend them to give it a go. And that's really developing really well. They've actually releasing a story for that very soon. I don't know if they already have, but I'm pretty sure it's coming soon. There's a whole story arc all built in, and because I went early access, I actually get to play all that stuff for like obviously I've gambled on them, and that's what you get back if they actually complete the game. Whereas the other hand, they could just can the game, and I would be stuck with it. And the other one I did buy was a similar game kind of mechanic, but much nicer in its environment, which was Stranded Deep, which is procedurally generated islands, and you're basically stranded there, and you've got different resources. You can make axes, and you chop down trees, and make cabins. You can go fishing. You can go like under the water to like avoid sharks and get into deep sea diving into shipwrecks and stuff. It's a really cool little world, and I would just put on some like laid back music, stick it on the projector, and just sit there for a few hours wandering about, making myself a wee cabin. Really good fun. And again, that was a tenner on Steam. I would like that to come to Xbox actually, because I'd play the hell out of that. But that's positive stories for me. I've never bought anything that I thought that was an absolute waste of money. So I think I'm maybe just lucky, and I've only done a few.
I mean, there used to be a word for this.
Demo.
Beta tester. Two words, I suppose. Yeah, that's what betas were. You would sign up,
And people got paid to do it as well.
yeah, you would sign up to a company would ask for beta testers, and you would sign up, and they would give you access to the game, and you would play through it, and it cost you nothing, but you were playing a broken game, and you weren't really playing it; you were testing it. But you got to see it early. You got something out of it. They get a lot out of it because they don't need to pay for beta testers because you're doing it for them, and that's absolutely fine. I don't understand how we've got to the point where we pay to be a beta tester. We pay the company to test their game, and not only that, we're now getting to the point where we pay for them to give them enough money to actually finish their game in the first place.
Well, we tested it for them.
While we test it for them, it's like this whole thing is just now backwards as far as I'm concerned. Again, yeah, I mean, I can cite there's been positive ones come out of it, and I suppose that's what it comes down to is if you trust a company enough, or if you feel you've done enough research into it, then it might be fine. I bought Elite Dangerous before it actually
As
came
did I,
out
actually.
properly. I bought it part of its early access thing because it was far enough along that there was pretty much a complete game there. So I've done it. I'm not going to sit completely sanctimoniously on it, but
Only slightly sanctimoniously.
well, when it's to the point when a game comes out where the game doesn't work, that's when I get an issue with it. When you get to the point where you can run about for that whole fucking time and just waste your time because the materials you need don't exist in the fucking universe because they can't get their algorithms right. That's
bollocks.
broken. You've just bought something that doesn't work. That's broke.
Yeah.
And this is something that Microsoft gave a lot of time on is the E3, and are now pushing on their supposedly curated early access system you're like, well, you didn't curate this one too well. Because it might not be broken for everybody, but it's broken enough that you can go so far in this game and go, oh well, I'm going to have to start from scratch because I can't actually physically do anymore. And that's shite. That's
Yeah.
it's like just the whole thing and the whole early access thing for me just doesn't really work. It's like turning up and saying, "Do you going to start up? I'm starting up this car washing business. I'll wash out the car for you. Be ready. The whole thing will be ready to go in a year's time. But just now, if you give me 500 quid, here's these air fresheners to stick up in the car. If you want to give us feedback and let us know how they work out for you, and cheers for the $500. And a year's time when the whole business is set up, we'll come and wash the whole car for you." I mean,
Shine me up.
I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it, and I don't get why people are defending it. And yeah,
What's your thoughts, Steve? Have you
yeah,
bought
when
anything?
it's-
Have you bought
What's that?
anything? Have you bought anything early access at all?
No, I wouldn't do either for the points that have just been made. I think it's pretty much ludicrous to kind of pay money for a game that is not complete. I can understand enlisting users to do performance testing for online, for performance testing, balance loading, and all that. But for a core game not to be complete and pay for access to do the beta testing is completely backwards to me. Refuse to do it, won't do it, shan't do it.
Can I also verify that you're definitely not buying Be Happy Few now?
100% confirmed.
Nice. That is probably the most informational segment we've ever done on here in 10 years at best. So I'm very proud of us all. Round of applause. Anyway, moving forward, on from there, PS4 update. I've never seen a PS4 update, and I don't even know what's in it. But apparently, this is a big one, version 4.
I know
You're the-
nothing about this.
I was relying on you because I know nothing about
And
it
I am
either.
the only one here with a PlayStation. Yeah, I'm not
Exactly.
the one that affects, and I know nothing about it.
Well, I was only bringing it up because there's both. Let me start again. Both platforms in the console land are doing big updates. You've got the Xbox anniversary update, which I've been running with for a couple of weeks now. I'm getting the kind of constant builds on it because I'm on those updates in the preview program, and I believe you're not, are you, D?
I'm what, sorry?
You're not in the preview program for Xbox.
No, and more no.
Zane, you are, I think.
I am indeed.
So we've got like Cortana on our Xboxes, and they've got a much better store. And I don't think it's as massive an update as they're making out. To be honest, there's still stuff missing, and I'm getting very fed up with lack of background audio. To be honest, but so that's due on August 2nd. I think this PlayStation one's about to do the same. I don't really see. There's a USB music player for the PlayStation One. Support for 4 TB hard drives, apparently. That's weird. But there's no more details on what it actually adds, apparently, is the message. So that's a great piece of information. Way to go. Go news.
Awesome.
So that was a non-point. And finally, we've got Pokemon Go accounts for 500.
Oh, Pokemon Go.
Ah, I didn't follow that there. That's genius. Whatever. So are people selling their accounts already?
Yeah, it was probably pretty inevitable, right enough in the day and age of kind of buying stuff and not achieving stuff. So yeah, there's accounts are being traded now with the rarer Pokemon for up to $500 or
Is it-
£500, I think it is.
Does it cost anything to play the game in the first place?
I don't know, Marty.
No, that's pretty good. You can.
So
There's in-store items that you can buy.
How are they making the money? Is it adverts?
There's
in-store items.
in-store items that you can buy.
Right. But it's-
The clue was in the sentence. The clue was in the words.
I should listen to those words more often. So Zane, tell me about these words.
You're asking the wrong person about words. I use all the wrong ones at all the wrong times. And not necessarily in the right order.
One of the fears off the back of this, though, the kind of a secondary part of the news, is people will be giving away their login details. That's basically how this works. So you pay somebody $500 and they give you their kind of username and password. and there's a fear that a lot of people won't be resetting their password and or that the username possibly is the same as other login details. So there's a serious concern that people's other accounts and websites and everything else they log into will be compromised as a result of this.
I think if that happens, they deserve what they get, because that's just
Correct.
stupidity. Also, the factor is that if you're savvy enough to try and sell an account for something, you should know what you're doing.
Savvy.
But yeah, that's weird. Also, what's kind of weird about it is I'm pretty sure you're going to be selling people your geolocation data then, like where you've walked about to, and probably where your bloody house is. Good thinking.
Yep.
I'll just put that out there.
And you're playing Pokemon Go. There you go.
Don't say anything. Zane's mad about it. He's loving it.
I doubt that heavily.
Yeah, it was good. It was good last week. I was away last week. I spent a week in London, just chilling and faffing about and playing lots of Pokemon because I was forced about in the streets anyway.
That's what I was going to say. Unless a Pokemon appears in your toilet, you ain't collecting shit.
It's like,
or literally is collecting shit.
Yes, it's like since I came back, I have collected exactly 2 Pokemon in the last 2 weeks. Pokemon, whatever. in the last week, it's like, yeah, really not for me.
Right.
Incidentally, just going back one story for a brief second, Zanak is saying they mentioned something about beta testers for the firmware, which is for PlayStation 4. I do vaguely remember seeing something about that today, actually, and then forgetting to actually look at it properly. But I presume it's similar to the Xbox preview program for theirs. They are actually looking for updates. So I presume if you go to PlayStation's website, if you're interested in that, there will be some sort of sign up.
We are all about the news. Go news.
Yeah, even if we need to make it up.
Church, or we have to rely on the people in their chat rooms. Thanks, Zarek.
Indeed.
I've got a note here saying light bulbs. Is somebody taking the piss, or is that actually a thing?
Light bulbs.
No, light bulbs exist, mate.
Yeah, but somebody's wrote it in the show notes, and I'm going, is that pertaining to something?
It was I.
Is this just for me to read this out? You're going to put different words in this box every week?
That's not what the intention was, but now we've got that thrilling idea. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Somebody else also wrote, you're a tit sack. That was me who wrote that one.
No, light bulbs was me. My favourite headline of the week is light bulbs vulnerable to hack.
Nice.
And
this is smart bulbs.
What's that?
This is smart bulbs that relay Wi-Fi.
Yeah, pretty much. So this is specifically from a company, or a kind of program, Osram Lightify, which allows you to kind of dim your light bulbs from your mobile phone, basically, which does require the Wi-Fi-ness of your light bulbs in your house. So yeah, these can now be easily compromised. The way that the kind of setup or the flaws being described is the company Osram had basically made an elementary mistake. It goes on to discuss.
I like you did there, elementary.
I can't claim that one. That's a direct quote, unfortunately.
Oh.
But yeah, it's from the way that they've described it, it basically looks like they are storing the passwords, the Wi-Fi password, and clear text is the way that I'm reading this article. They don't say that. They don't say that explicitly, but they basically said it's a well-known thing that you don't store passwords like that. It's really elementary, so it can only be in clear text, and it's all the Wi-Fi kind of details, so it can actually compromise your whole network.
Oh dear. Brilliant. I got what in there. I'm proud of myself. That's the worst pun known to man. But anyway, the funny thing about this is this happens quite a lot. Not with the light bulbs, obviously, or my shit puns, but well, actually, the second one's true. This seems to be a thing where companies who don't, strictly speaking, work in data jump in thinking we can buy some import company's like Wi-Fi chip and use it, and we're good at it. It's, for example, I don't know if you saw the recalls on a lot of the, I don't know if it was a full recall actually, I think of it, but the Mitsubishi PHEV electric hybrid Jeeps, the new ones come with Wi-Fi on them, and these companies go, yeah, you've got a car, it's got a Wi-Fi like set up on it, so you can, bridge Wi-Fi from your car or access your car from the house or turn your car on and off and all this shit. And you're kind of going, it sounds ideal, like it sounds like a lovely futuristic idea, but these guys are basically auto engineers, and granted there's a lot of electronics involved, but what they're doing is they're saying, we should make this car Wi-Fi. They're not security engineers, so people's cars are getting hacked left, right and centre. People turn people's cars off, stealing people's cars with Wi-Fi, and it's a basic intercept, like you would do with somebody's £5 Android phone, not your 80 grand Jeep. So mental.
Yeah, well thought through then.
Well, that's it. I mean, it's literally, yeah, someone hacking your light bulbs. Oh no, fair enough, right? They're going to maybe use your internet connection, but somebody's actually got access to your car, which by diagnostics they can shut down the bloody engine. They can do whatever they want to the vehicle. You're sitting there going, that should fundamentally be no way connected to the innards of the car, other than a hotspot.
Yeah.
So pretty scary. What do you think, D? Does that give you the fear, or do you want one?
Yeah, with regards to cars, and it's a scary proposition, and it shows a kind of how easy it is to build, kind of using technology standards and building your own, I don't know, APIs into that kind of thing, and a total disregard. But it's strange that they've clearly not got the technical experts involved that needed to be. So whoever they've gone to this in the first place to say, oh, by the way, going to make my light bulbs do this because I can't live my life anymore without it.
That light switch is doing my tits in.
Exactly. It's just, yeah, for what it is. I mean, you can't do much with a light bulb right enough, but the car one's just kind of scary dudes.
Yeah. It was one thing I was actually thinking about as well with this, is that with all this kind of everybody, let's make this all future automated and let's give us like automated, I don't know, cheeseburgers or whatever. They're going to end up with cars, for example, that are going to.
Sorry, is there an app to get automated cheeseburgers?
I'm working on it.
Right.
What's really cool is you've got your car, and at the side of your car you've got like usually the engine size, like 2 litre or whatever, and it'll say like GTI or anything. You're going to have that, then you're going to have GTI, then you're going to have powered by Cisco, powered by Microsoft, down the side of your car. So it's like, you're like, can you run the kids to school? Can't do, darling. Car's updating. You're laughing, but it's going to happen.
Imagine trying the beta software out for that.
You have to pay for your own fuel.
When you're hurtling down the motorway and your tyre windscreen becomes a blue screen, literally of death.
Of death.
Update to Windows 10.
Brilliant. Pulling you over, it's time to update. Very good. Yeah, so I think that's all of our gamey techie news for the week. So it's time to move on to movies. Anybody get anything games before we do so?
No. I've got. You do have to say just screw the games industry in general for the past how many weeks? It's like the entire.
Since we started this, it's been dry as shit.
Pretty much the entire game industry decided to have a summer holiday. It's like
since E3 though, which is supposed to be predictable.
Yeah. Bastards.
So I still think we should have a transitionary point between the game section, and the movie section. So seeing we've got no budget and not actually done anything, I'm just going to go this. Right, so there you go, intermittent. And we're back. I miss saying and we're back. We used to play music in our old show, so we used to be able to say and you're back every time you finished the song, which was fun. Yeah, I'm aware of the time, thanks Steve. So, releases this week. Has anybody actually been to the cinema yet?
No.
Ew.
We get Star Trek Beyond and Jason Bourne out this week, which is what I'm actually quite keen to go and see. So
I do want to see the Star Trekkie.
Yeah, up for that. Maybe Saturday afternoon. My treat.
We shall see.
At least I can do.
Seem to be getting pretty positive feedback on it. It seems to be getting a lot of like, especially after the last one.
The one comment I got back from somebody was, I wish they had the DVD on sale on the exit of the cinema.
I don't know if that's a judgmental factor that they didn't want the Blu-ray or it was good, but it was too shiny. That's a good response, though. What were you going to say, Zane?
But yeah, it's coming back so far. 84% Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, that's pretty good.
So, which is pretty damn high. And seems to be a lot more Star Trek-y, for want of a better word.
Well, Simon Pegg was a big factor in this one, apparently.
Yeah, he was one of the writers. So, yeah. But it seems to be going down a lot well. I'm looking forward to this a lot more than I kind of enjoyed the last one, and then, or rather, the first time I watched Into Darkness, I thought it was quite a good film, and then I kind of watched it a second time and completely reversed that thought.
Really?
Just like, yeah, it just I don't know. There's too many things in it. Like Cumberbatch giving it the whole big My name
Angry
is
Man.
Can. It's like, who was that for?
That kind of almost coughs up the word can.
Well, it's like he might as well have looked. He might as well have looked directly into the camera, going, "My name is Can," because, well, let's face it, they two standing actually on the other side of the glass don't have a clue who the fuck Can is. It's the first time it's ever been mentioned to him. In an alternative reality, they might know who Can is. In this one, don't have a fucking clue. And and the film is actually directed in a way that there's a nice big pause after it for everybody to go, "Oh my god!" Like, really?
It's kind of like standing in the pub talking to some new people you've never met before and standing there for like 15 minutes and they're still talking about everybody else and you turn around and go, "My name is Kay." And they go, "Yeah, all right." That's Kay apparently.
It was just bizarre.
The thing is, I wouldn't put that past you in the slightest.
That is a fair point. That's a very fair point. Let's test that theory on Friday. But yeah, so I actually really love both the new Star Treks. I just think they're good action movies. They're just kind of good, shiny, big budget nonsense. I've never been a Trekkie right enough.
I mean, the first one was pretty decent. The second one, you're just flat out wrong.
I'm gonna get my first gold star from the Don't Be a Dick Academy, aren't I? See, there's not actually a prize. It's just a warning. You've been marked. But no, I'll definitely go and try to see that this weekend. I think definitely. Jason Bourne. Anyone to care about that?
I've still never. I watched 20 minutes of the original Bourne Identity, and that's as much as I've seen of the entire series. So
I freaking love the three of them.
Yeah, just 20 minutes.
Don't know if it was just the mood. I don't know if it was just the mood I was in at the time or what. But I watched 20 minutes. I was bored out of my skull and switched off, and I've never went back to the series. Really like Matt Damon as well. It's strange, but nah, it never caught me. Never did anything for me. I may have to give them another look.
I think you should.
It's a bit like Bioshock. The world is telling me I'm wrong in that one. So.
Yeah, they've not aged well. There's loads of crap CGI in the first one that I didn't even notice until I watched it back. I've got the three of them in Blu-ray, and I was like, yeah, that's a bit odd. But they're good. They're really good action films. Again, it's one of those things. You put too much stock in it, it's going to suck. You a fan?
I kind of enjoyed them, but it's as if there's just, I don't know, something missing. It's just lacking something. It's just not original enough for me. Having said that, I mean, I'd watched them again, so I mean that's not a bad kind of indication, I suppose.
Yeah, the one thing I was laughing at was Matt Damon, because he's obviously this is coming out, was on Reddit doing an AMA. Did anybody see this?
No.
Somebody in the AMA, the first question they asked him was, "What is your thoughts on the South Park Team America, Matt Damon?" And the fact that everybody keeps going, "Matt Damon." And somebody actually got to ask him that, and I was very proud of them. Apparently his response was just, "I know those guys, I've met those guys before, they're really nice guys, they're super talented, and I have no idea why the hell they made me out like that, because I'm not even that stupid." He just didn't understand it. And then one of the guys in Reddit says, as I understand reading interviews with them, it was because the doll they got made for you ended up coming out looking completely fucked up, so they went, just make him sound stupid. So Matt Damon has no understanding as to why everybody goes, "Matt Damon," which is a real shame. Very funny as well. Almost anecdotal. It's the fact that Matt Damon's such a nice guy about it. He's like, I have no idea why they come out. I think they're really talented though. They've basically Craig Davided you, as one way to call it.
Yep.
And yeah, I just thought it was amazing.
I mean, Matt and Trey have said many, many times that it was just like, why did you do that? It's like, because we thought it was funny.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's very much
no other reason. It was no commentary on Matt Damon or on his acting or anything else. It was just, we thought it sounded funny, so we did it.
And it did work. It's become iconic in its own right. We've got Kill and Joke coming out in digital release. I've never read the Kill and Joke, and it's apparently like a kind of, like a rites of passage in comic books.
Yeah, well, it came out today in digital release, and I watched it this afternoon, and you maybe want to leave it to the end because I'm going to spoiler the shite out of that.
Okay, we'll come back to that one. That'll be the last thing we do before we tie up.
This is what happens if we don't get time to go for the show notes before we start. Yeah, you might want to leave that. You might want to leave that one to the end.
No bother. D, have you seen the Kill and Joke or read it?
Never even heard of it at all. Don't know anything about it.
All I know about it is it's a Batman kind of like an iconic Batman kind of publication. I think it's like 50 pages. It's not even that big or anything, but
It's
it's
got
just
30 pages.
is it is it's for everything that happens in it. I think it's very kind of is it game changer? Is that the kind of idea?
Oh yes, like I say, I will spoil the shit out it for everybody. So don't
Right,
worry.
you're going to
We'll
make
tell
a
you
big
all about it
spoiler.
soon.
Need to make a big spoiler stamp for the screen here. Okay, let's bounce on quickly then. We have, before D flicks up the thing on front of me, we have 26 minutes remaining. I seen you doing it. Nope, that's not what I've got here. Unless my system clock somehow slow. Weird. Okay, that's fine. We've just won 4 minutes. Let's not talk over it.
Or fast even.
Yes, good point. You don't know words. I don't know numbers or words. I don't know what he's capable of.
Matt Damon.
Brilliant. All right, so on to bananas. That's going to be quite a funny thing to hear on an audio podcast. Somebody just gives out bananas randomly. Yeah, moving on to the Comic-Con stuff. Everyone seen all of the 8,000 trailers that came out?
Yes.
I've seen a few.
Okay, do you want to run through them in order then? And see what your thoughts were on each?
In what order are you going to run through them on?
The order that they're on this here document that I've got in front of me. So starting from the top, we have Justice League. What were your thoughts, D? You want to go first?
Yeah, so not it's kind of off the heels of the Batman versus Superman. I'm okay with Ben Affleck to a point with being Batman, and I don't mind what's his face that dates 18-year-old girls being Superman. I kind of like him as that character.
What? I didn't know
Henry Cavill, his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend now, I think she's 18.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That's weird.
So
Okay then.
I'm not sure why it's weird. It's just, how do you know this? You've not known anything about the films we've been watching for weeks, but you know about him and his girlfriend.
it's because I like to keep up to date with who's dating.
Entertainment news.
Yeah.
We've got a e-weekly guy anyway.
They call me Dizez Hilton. So yeah, I mean, my concern is
Tenuous at best for all your weekly jailbait news.
she's free.
This is called the Got ID section.
Yeah, so I don't know what to make of that DC world at the moment. From the trailers that I've watched, it looks like they're trying to inject a tiny bit of humor a la Marvel at the moment. And I'm not sure it kind of works for them. The only thing I watched this trailer and two things struck me. Number one, the Flash that they had obviously isn't Flash from the TV series, which was hugely disappointing because I really enjoy that and I enjoy that guy as a Flash. So that was a bit kind of disappointing. And I just remember thinking, thank God Christian Bale hasn't signed on to keep doing this because it would have been crap.
It'd been too weird. It's far too weird.
Yep.
I think the thing as well is that it's quite jarring because the humor thing wouldn't matter so much. I think it's good that they put humor in it because it's comics and it needs to be a little bit kind of, it needs to be a little bit silly in respect. But it's when they've pumped out Dawn of Justice, which is so dark and brooding, it's really hard to come back from there. Really hard to come back from it. It seems alien when you come back from there, I don't think there's a single funny moment in the entire Dawn of Justice, is there?
And that's why that looked out of place to me. And it was just these little pause quip kind of scenarios, and it's just like that's now just becoming an absolute trope in these movies.
I think that would have worked really well if you had never had Dawn of Justice. If you just did that, you go, that's really quite good. I'm quite looking forward to this. Looks kind of fun.
Yep.
But when you see a DC film, when I see a DC film, I think because of Dawn of Justice, anything like that, I say, this doesn't look like it's going to be fun. It looks like it's going to be a film. It doesn't look like something... I'll enjoy it for many reasons, probably emotional ones, not necessarily the enjoyment of just fun. So it's not the way I see them at the moment. Mr. Zane, thoughts?
I mean, everybody's jumped up. And,
So that was it.
everybody's jumped up and down on them recently just for that. Oh, your movies are too dark. You're trying to make it too real. You're trying to make it too gritty. And now this trailer comes out and they're going, oh, it's all quips, it's all jokes, and you're trying to turn him into Tony Stark, and you're just trying to be Marvel, and make your fucking mind up, people.
No. Let me clarify. I'm a lot happier with that trailer than I was anything to do with DOJ. I'm glad they're doing this.
I mean, I'm just talking about the the general public, and by the general public I mean the internet. So I mean,
I thought you were going to say me.
You internet.
Yeah, like the whole response to it has just been a bit fucking bizarre. It's so you really don't like the direction that the past two have gone. Yes, my vape sounds like a fucking elephant when I put it down. Sorry about that. Yeah, you don't like the direction where it's been going. It's too dark, it's too gritty, so they're trying to steer the ship in a slightly different direction, and suddenly they're all complaining about that as well. It's like, make out of fucking minds. I quite liked it. I quite like. It's one of those ones I need to kind of put out that disclaimer of I really like Affleck. I find them funny.
I like him too.
I've always found that man funny. So, and when he's getting to be quite loose and quite quippy, I like his style. So, I like this Bruce Wayne. I like what I saw in that clip. And I think it seems to play off well with each character that you saw him in that. You know, it seems to be... there seemed to be something there between him and Gal Gadot. There seemed to be something there between him and... I can't remember the Flash kid's name. Yeah, it looks
Wrong
like
guy.
Yeah, the wrong guy, not Grant Gustin?
Grant Gustin, yeah.
Yeah, that's what he's just going to be forever known as now, not Grant Gustin. They seem to be, it looks like it's going to be quite good just from that point of view. They seem to kind of work together quite well, which gives me a lot of hope for the movie. I'm not sure I'm ready for a universe where Aquaman is more badass than Batman.
Yes.
Because that's just not right. It's like Aquaman is the butt of every single DC joke out there, and suddenly
He's just Momoa, he's 7'2" and wants to murder you. He's here.
But say that again, fucking, I'll watch Khal Drogo and anything as well. So
Yeah.
yes, I even liked that shitty Conan movie just because.
Just because.
Yes, Momoa just fucking rocks, quite frankly. But he looked fucking awesome in it. He looked badass. I liked what I saw. I kind of looking forward to this.
Cool. Well, I'm going to give it a thumbs up. Can I get a thumb off, everybody? Up or down? That one? There you go.
That takes way too much coordination.
Oh,
Not quite sure.
he's going for the middle ground there. Okay, so that was a thumbs up for me, thumbs up from Zane, and I'm going to give you a Joaquin Phoenix from Gladiator, thumb in the middle from D. Next up, we had Wonder Woman trailer. I will quickly brief on this to the fact that this is the one I'm actually probably the one I'm most excited about, because actually secondary to one we're going to cover in a minute, but this looks really really well put together, really solid, and actually looks like it could well be like it's the first time we're going to see a proper female lead in one of these situations, so that's kind of cool. But I just think it looks like a solid entry into this kind of DC, new generation DC, if you will, and I'm really looking forward to this film. Zane, thoughts?
It looks pretty smart. I'm kind of concerned about Captain Kirk being in it.
This Kirkin.
Because he seems to be playing Kirk again, except just set in World War One.
It does. It's a very similar character from the clips. Absolutely.
That kind of took me out of it for a second.
He's got the same forehead.
That looks like the same guy.
I'm sure over the length of the entire movie, that feeling will go away.
And the forehead will change.
And again, I like him, so I think it'll be pretty decent. I mean, it looked pretty smart. The effects look pretty smart.
Yeah.
They seem to be doing the kind of full story from kind of scratch, almost from him turning up on Thermoscria. However the hell you pronounce that island.
Can I make a little kind of confession as to why I'm excited about it? It's because Zack Snyder's not involved.
That helps.
That helps me immensely.
I mean,
that gets me very excited about this.
I can't do it, Captain. My head's too big.
I can't get off this island with all these birds. Mercy.
Yeah, it did look pretty badass.
Yeah. D, thoughts?
I'm more excited about this than I am about Justice League. I'm a Chris Pine fan, so happy that he's in it, and happy with the fact that it's not a kind of modern day kind of setting and modern day, and then all the skyscrapers are going to fall down. So happy with that.
Yeah. it's a bit of a tough one at this point, I think, because we've had so many of these movies now that anybody that does a kind of origin story feels just trope loaded because you just can't get away from the fact that every origin story is pretty much the same thing, just a slightly different take. So I think that them doing the Wonder Woman kind of origin story is going to be quite an interesting one. At least, as you say, they're doing this, introducing this character, but not in the kind of common time zone. So you've got extra kind of manipulation of that. So I think that'll be pretty cool. That takes us tightly on. On you go, sorry.
Sorry, there's this kind of there's this kind of backlash these days against origin stories, and I don't think the issue is that. I actually think origin stories can be like the most interesting.
Yeah, completely agree.
Of the movies. The problem is when you start doing the same origin story 15 times. I don't need to see how Spider-Man was
at this exact point last week
originated. I don't need to see Batman's bloody. I don't need to see Bruce Wayne's mother's pearls found in a drain for the 14th time. It's that's the issue with it. But I mean, I certainly wouldn't rule out origin stories as being a bad thing, which is the prevailing thought these days. I mean, you see
there's lots of radioactive hamsters running about biting people
and not explain any of it.
I mean, for example, you see in the Justice League trailer, you see Cyborg, pre-Cyborg, and that's probably just as well, because if he just turned up looking like fucking RoboCop and there was no explanation for it whatsoever, I'm pretty sure folk are going to have questions.
Yeah.
So you know, sometimes an origin story is needed.
Mm-hmm. I'd love to see like a Batman kind of origin story where it's just a young boy and for some stupid fucking reason he just loves bats, and when he was 6 he just used to jump about and pretend he was a bat like a right twat.
His mum and dad are still fine.
His parents were there and just kind of let him play in the dirt pretending to be a bat, and his bedroom was done up like a cave. None of this fucking parents falling down drains.
Also,
and to get bit by a radioactive hamster.
I also have to say, not the Rad fan is in the chat room giving it emotes for Hear No Evil. Monkeys.
Oh, you try to avoid spoilers?
Aye, it's like you've been warned, dude. There are going to be spoilers. It's got to happen. Anyway.
Awesome. So moving on, just talking about origin stories ties us on to the next one I wanted to talk about actually was Doctor Strange. I was very impressed with this trailer. It looked awesome.
Oh, you said you were going in order on this document here, and you lied.
But I decided to let the flow of conversation drive me. I've changed it. I've changed it all. Fuck you, internet. All right, let's go back then. Seeing as I'm not allowed to drive. No, Doctor Strange is. I know. Again, I think as you were saying there, Zane, about the fact that you need an origin story. Well, there's a time and a place for an origin story. Is the thing. Yeah. Nobody knows who the fuck Cyborg is. Nobody knows who the fuck Doctor Strange is for the mainstream. So yeah, those guys definitely warrant it. You don't need the 10 times repeater. I think that's right enough. What do you think of the trailer?
It looked really good. There is a weird point. Actually, I don't know if it was I think it was the first trailer. The trailer that just came out is really good, but I think the link that you put out for the show notes had both trailers on it. It had the comical one I just seen, but it also had the original trailer. And there is a line of dialogue in that about how you need to get back to. Because it feels like Hugh Laurie just sort of went, see that house character? I don't need that voice anymore. Do you want to take it? And just gave it to Cumberbatch. It's really fucking freaking.
Did you see the first trailer, D?
Nope. And I'm just seeing this one for the first time.
Ah. Yeah, the trailer is exactly right. It's the first line in the trailer, and he says something, I don't know what he's saying. Sometimes you have to be a cow to get through the internet, or some shit, I don't know what he says. But his voice goes pure ultra Hugh Laurie, like, this is weird.
Just sounds like, I mean, he might as well just say it's not lupus. It's
you could sarcoidosis of the Time Lords or something. I don't think he's a Time Lord. He was a Time Lord. He was a fucking Sherlock. Anyway, I think that looks really good.
Yeah, there's always been this kind of age-long problem where in the comic books, because it's still everything's stationary, capes look cool. It works. As soon as you actually put a cape on in an actual real life movie, not animated, it always looks a bit strange. You never really kind of pull it off.
It's a good thing he's a Doctor of Strange.
Well, it's like finally they've managed to figure out how you make capes look cool, and it turns out all you just do is hire Benedict Cumberbatch.
Because he looks like he should always be wearing a cape, doesn't he?
I don't know if it's the height or what it is, but I mean that man wearing a cape just looks cool as fuck.
Awesome. D, are you watching the trailer just now?
Yeah, I mean, why the cape looks so cool, one of the reasons is he doesn't stand there having to tie it for 5 minutes. He just throws it up
Just
in the
throws
air
it
and
on.
it magically goes, woo, around my neck.
I'm
That's
not
cool.
I'm not big on Doctor Strange lore, but I believe the cape is alive. But,
No, that's not what you need. He's going to get attacked by Greenpeace or something. He's walking down the street. You turned that cape into a cape.
it's not a cape, it's a fox. What the fuck are you doing, man?
He's got no powers. He's just a guy full of LSD.
Maybe sentient was maybe a better word to use than alive. But yeah, I believe the cape is sentient in some way.
Brilliant. So D, is
I'm being
that
a bit-
interesting to you?
I'm being a bit basic, but it's got a bit of an Inception vibe about it.
Yeah, I think it's just the kind of the choice of the kind of effects, but I think it looks wicked. I think that's quite nice to see somebody taking that effect a little bit further as well, because that's, I mean, I love Inception, and I don't mind somebody who lifts bits from it because it's a cool effect and should be
Well,
leveraged.
here's the thing, and it is Inception. It's Chris Nolan was heavily inspired by Doctor Strange and by the comics of Doctor Strange.
Really?
That's cool.
For Inception, and now this movie looks like
The film that
Inception,
inspired the film.
which was inspired by Doctor Strange. So like it literally is fucking Inception. It's
That's cool.
One's inspired the other, which is inspired the other, which is in eye. So that's why it looks kind of similar.
That's awesome. Okay, moving quick forward. Actually, let's do thumbsies. I'm giving it a defo. D. Thumbs. We've got 3 thumbs. That's good. Awesome. Next up, we have Suicide Squad. Is anybody excited? I'm not kind of fussed about it. It looks fun, but I'm not jonesing for it to come out. It comes out next week.
I hadn't been interested in it at all until watching that trailer this evening.
It was really long though, that trailer, wasn't it? It was like
It
3.5
was
minutes.
4 minutes 18, if I remember rightly.
Jesus.
I'm still. I now don't know what to expect, I suppose, and that's kind of like a weird thing to say. As in, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy it or not. Whereas beforehand, I was not willing to give it any attention and
Oh,
probably,
right. Okay.
possibly wouldn't have even watched it. One of those issues was down to the fact that I didn't like the fact Will Smith was in it, and I'm a Will Smith fan.
Yeah. The thing is, Will Smith, he's always very Will Smith, and I kind of could pull you out of something where it's fantasy based, I think.
Exactly, but he seems to be more. What was the name of that superhero film he was in?
No, not Hitch. Hitch should have been an amazing superhero film. Date!
Hancock.
Hancock, yeah.
Hitchcock?
Hancock, yeah.
Hancock. Yeah, he's more Hancock than kind of Fresh Prince in this.
Oh, that's funny. My brain went to Hitch as well.
I just like the idea of somebody using superpowers to force people to date, using like thunderbolts and shit. Date!
And I was also pleased to see that he wasn't doing the soundtrack by the looks of it. I haven't looked at the full
Do
soundtrack.
they do that still? Skrillex is doing the soundtrack with Rick Ross and about 30 other different bands. It's quite a big soundtrack. The soundtrack's out already, I think. That's coming out. It's very soon.
But yeah, we'll see. Now moderately interested.
Zane, thoughts?
Yeah. I want to know who directed the trailers actually, because they should have been terrible. Like, they made 3 different trailers with using 3 different soundtracks, and then cut it, edited it, the clips to go in time with whatever particular song was playing, and they managed to nail it all 3 times.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, that should have been cheesy. The first one should have been cheesy. It shouldn't have worked once, but they managed to do it. They managed to nail it 3 times. It's like whoever's editing that shit is fucking talented.
Or has access to the raw footage.
Well, you can give me access to the raw footage. Trust me, I will fuck it up.
See, this is Zane now living the world of being a YouTuber, understands the element and the importance of timing.
And actually edit.
I've seen him doing, and he thinks I don't notice, but I've seen him do his videos where it's like he falls off something, and he thinks to himself, I can just go back to that part of the game, just keep my face exactly straight, and then just cut it there, and nobody will notice. Granted, the guy's got a shotgun, the next minute he's got an RPG, but it's fine.
That happens all the time.
So Suicide Squad, I'm giving that a middles.
I
Giving a middles from D and a thumbs up from Zane.
think it's going to be good. I'm interested to see Leto's Joker for one, and I don't care about Will Smith's in, and I don't care that it's now become fashionable to not like him. I think that man rocks. I love him to bits, and I want to see
Couldn't
him in
agree
this.
more.
Well, no, I like him. Don't get
No,
me
no,
wrong.
you
That's,
don't.
that's not what I'm saying.
No,
It's his son I don't like.
Nobody likes his son. His son dressed up as a white dove Batman. Remember that?
Oh,
That was
yeah,
weird.
Don't get me
And that's
wrong.
not just fashionable. That's just the right thing to do.
That's a moral obligation.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I don't like Will Smith. I'm just saying fuck his siblings. Not literally, because then you go to jail. But
There's jailbait news update.
Jesus, breaking news. Let's leave it there. Okay, so what have we got left? We've got
Breaking in news.
wow. That's the cherry on top there, D.
Oh.
Oh
and thanks, ladies and gentlemen. That's all we've got time for. Tenuous at best will be back after this jail sentence.
yeah. Good job. This podcast is marked explicit. I'll tell you. Fucking hell. All right, last couple trailers, and then we'll get to Zane gets to tie the show up with spoilers. I think we'll just do a quick thumbs on this because I want to talk about this because another trailer due for it anyway. Kong Skull Island looks awesome to me. I love a big monster movie. Pretty excited about it.
Meh.
Giving it a May, Zane.
I mean, John Goodman shouting at
Samuel L. Jackson.
Samuel L. Jackson is all I want to see. I want to see that
Yes.
bit of a shout off.
That's going to be the best thing you've ever seen.
But,
It's Jurassic Park with Samuel L. Jackson, which actually could be quite funny.
Samuel L. Jackson was in Jurassic Park. Hold on to your butts. That's the face of D looking. How the fuck did I get to IMDb by using one hand and nobody noticed it moving? I can see your pixelated ass. But yes, I think it looks. That's gonna be a middle finger. I can detect that much. Is it? Double thought. This is the best audio podcast known to man. Yeah, I think it looks phenomenal, and I think it's quite cool. It's set in the 70s as well. It's quite a nice touch. But we've got Godzilla and King Kong coming up, and I think next year or the year after. But that King Kong that we saw in the trailer is not big enough to fight our current Godzilla, so be interesting to see where they go with that. Maybe it's got a barrel of monkeys. I don't know. What are you laughing at, Zane? You seem to be chortling to some degree.
No, carry on.
All right, fair enough. So I'm giving that a thumbs up. D. Skull Island, middle thumbs.
Kind of the same, but fuck it. I don't know where my camera is.
There you go, middle thumbs. All right, okay. I'm the one giving that a thumbs up. I'm looking forward to that. And I think we'll finally cover off with King Arthur. King Arthur.
Very interested in this.
Because
Guy Ritchie.
Because of Guy
And
Ritchie.
it's and a kind of new, interesting genre for him. So it'll be interesting to see, and you can see in the trailer some of the aspects already with regards to kind of I suppose both the tone, the accents, and the kind of style that's already kind of packed in there. So very interested. Plus, we get to see David Beckham's official acting debut, although it's not his first role.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
I do not. I quite care about the film. Don't care about David Beckham. The reason I want to like it is because I want to see Guy Ritchie return to form. I mean, I actually did enjoy Man from U.N.C.L.E., but I just feel like he needs a new classic kind of thing. I don't think this is going to be the one that's quoted like Lock, Stock, and all that stuff. But I'd just like to see him. I like to see Guy Ritchie be Guy Ritchie, and I think that's quite a nice thing to see that he doesn't go and wander off from his own style. It's kind of like
If you lived with him, then you'd be a very happy man.
I'd be overjoyed. But that's never going to happen. Let's be honest.
Do you know Beckham was in The Man from U.N.C.L.E.?
Was he?
Yep.
Why do you like Beck? Why are you Entertainment Weekly all of a sudden? Who's Beckham dating?
Vicky?
Who?
I don't know.
You are like Desi Hilton or something.
His wife?
No, but was he? Who was he? Where was he in The Man from U.N.C.L.E.? That was weird.
He had a small part. He played the projectionist.
So God, that is a small part behind the light.
Yep. No. It wasn't behind the light as such. You did see him, and he did have a speaking role officially, but it was an exceptionally bitty one. He was basically told to do something. He went, "Oh, all right."
All right, that's weird. I think he's mates with Guy Ritchie or something.
It would appear so.
Indeed. Yeah, I think this film looks good fun. It looks. My concern about any of these films now is the same reason I was kind of concerned about. The same reason I was concerned and right to be concerned about like 300, whatever the second one was called.
301.
Probably 301 Dalmatians. But the stupid thing is that these films, like 300 was really good because it was of a time and it looked like an original art style and it was kind of a point in time. It was a compact story and it worked well. They've done all these epics afterwards, all this CGI, like Gods of Egypt, which is a pile of shit. And they keep doing these films. So you see this where it's kind of grounded in reality a little bit more. Looks like it's got an actual opportunity of being a good story. Yeah, there's some kind of magical elements in it, obviously, but it just seems a lot more grounded, not everything against a green screen, you know. So I'm quite interested in this one. I'm going to give this a thumbs up over here. Thumbs up from D. Medley.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
I don't know. It's a difficult one to pull off, like, because I like anything I've seen a Guy Ritchie I've liked, but I haven't seen a Guy Ritchie movie for quite a while, I have to say as well. I really like his early stuff. I don't know how the kind of mishmash of Lock, Stock and this is going to work, and it does seem to be that. It's either going to be really good or it's going to fall flat in its face, and I'm not sure which yet.
I'll definitely go and see it. I think I definitely just because to see what he does. I think.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by it. I'm certainly intrigued, but I'm not sure.
Alrighty, well, I think we're very close to wrapping up time, so let's sign off with some spoilers. Zane's been very excited about spoiling something. We don't actually have a spoiler card, so you just have to turn off at this point if you care. I take the spoilers for the Killing Joke.
Yeah,
So if you care about Killing Joke or in that jazz, this is where you sign off. So peace out.
absolutely.
Drop the mic.
Time to go. Get the hell out of here. But yeah, so this came out in digital format, DVD as well, I presume, today. Is Alan Moore's Killing Joke for Batman fans is kind of this really big deal. As you said, it is kind of game changing. It is where the Joker, for reasons, shoots and paralyzes Barbara Gordon, Batgirl.
You just ruined it for me. What the fuck?
I told you. Spoilers. I mean, it's one of those ones. It's, if you're not a big Batman,
He shoots and kills Barbara Gordon.
shoots and paralyzes.
Oh, paralyzes
Doesn't
her.
kill her. She then spends the next, I don't know how many years, but many years as another kind of identity of Oracle, where she would basically run an electronic watchtower helping out the Justice League with information. Basically running essentially a big fuck off back computer. So I
So you
mean,
see that like as a thing? What the fuck is a back computer?
aye.
Oh, I've got a back computer back. It's fine.
Oh,
Go
aye.
on, turn on the back computer.
It's pretty much she just stole a back computer for the Batcave, and that's what
Ah,
that's
right.
what they're running on. It's kind of causing interesting ripples.
What, as in it's
when
fucking
it
up
came
the
out
continuity?
because, well, see, the actual graphic novel is about 30 pages long. It's not actually that big a book. So in order to make it a feature-length movie, basically the first 25 minutes is a whole other story, because they've had to they basically give Batgirl a whole story so that folk know who Batgirl is if you just happen to be watching the movie. Because the book itself went through this thing where it was kind of really well looked upon for years and years and years. And then out of the blue, somewhere along the line, folks suddenly decided, you know what, it's actually really sexist. It's like the only reason Barbara Gordon is in this book is to be the is to be antagonistic for the male characters. Basically, the entire thing is Joker does this and then kidnaps Commissioner Gordon, and he's trying to break him mentally. He's trying to drive him insane because he's trying to prove that he can bring down even the best of them. Somewhat similar to the Dark Knight
Yeah.
kind of movie idea. So you've just got like the only scenes that you've got for Barbara in this book, in the book itself, is just her being shot. And then left, and then he takes some rather compromising pictures of her and uses all this as to try and break down her, to try and
So
break
let me
down
get
her
this straight.
bad.
He shoots her and then takes her photos of her in the nude. That's a pretty fucked up comic.
It's pretty dark. Funnily enough, the movie is the first animated R-rated Batman
All right.
movie.
Okay.
With good reason. So yeah, it's causing a bit of controversy because you've got this whole story where essentially they say, right, well, yeah, we don't really want to have just have that part. Incidentally, just to go, oh, it's awfully sexist to just use her in this one part. It's, well, yeah, if you take the book as a singular thing, then yeah, absolutely. But in order to have that viewpoint, you're kind of going to forget about 25 years of the character already existing. It's like, I'm pretty sure Alan Moore knew that there is plenty of history of Batgirl there that he didn't need to stick in the start of this book because it was part of the continuity. It's already there. You're like, it's one of those arguments. As a white male, I generally don't try and get involved in, but in this case, fuck off.
Nice. Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick. Yeah.
Hand out the card.
Or in this particular case, don't be a clit. What they do, however, is in trying to not have it be like that, so that you've just got her in this one scene where she gets injured and then she's just used as a foil to give the male character something to react to. They give her this whole backstory, whereas in this backstory, she is doing nothing. But the only reason she is Batgirl, it would appear, is that she is pining over Batman and wants to get in his pants.
Commissioner Gordon's wife wants to get in Batman's pants.
His daughter.
His daughter. Okay.
Tactically, that's not the best choice. That's going to take hours.
And
you need a scalpel or something.
Yeah. And it happens. And they actually do it on a rooftop in the first 25 minutes of this movie.
That seems so weird.
So you're like, so we don't want her to seem like this just foil for the male characters to play off. We don't want to be that sexist. So we'll just turn her into this pandering stalker who's become
That'll fix it.
who has become a superhero purely so that she can get into Batman's pants because she idolizes him that much. And you've got a Batman who basically takes advantage of one of his words. And I mean, this man has two friends in his life.
I don't know. I wanted to know what the sh was going to be there.
I think you know what it was going to be. This man has two friends in his life. He's got Alfred the Butler and he's got Commissioner Gordon.
And decided to.
Aye, and without even thinking twice about it, he just shags the daughter of one of his best mates.
Way to go, Batman. A bastion of good.
It's like, well done, guys. You really dodged that whole fucking sexist bullet right there, didn't you?
By turning him into a grooming root bat.
So yeah, hence the reason why I've gone spoilers straight out, because I had to get this out there. I'm just going, what the fuck are you doing, guys? It's like, yeah, we don't want to seem sexist, just having her in this one scene where she gets shot and that's her only purpose. So we'll just turn her into this complete freaky stalker character. Okay, then.
But is it any good?
Now, if you take out that first 25 minutes and just cut to where the film starts from the start of the Killing Joke graphic novel, it is pitch perfect start to finish, is so close to the original. And if that's what you want, it is spot on. It is perfect. It's absolutely
So you're saying forward the first 25 minutes?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can watch it, but you do need to kind of like then just have a giggle and then put it aside because it is just ludicrous.
Is it cut in two chunks? Is it like, does it very obviously end that segment, then the Killing Joke starts?
Yes, yeah, it does actually. There's a voiceover from Batgirl at the start of the film, and then there's a voiceover from her that's a kind of coda to that part. So yeah, you could actually quite easily just lift that whole section out and just throw it in the bin where it deserves to go. Because it just fucks up so much that it's ridiculous, quite frankly.
So you'd recommend it though?
But absolutely, apart from that, I'd recommend it. If you like, if you're a fan, this is the thing, it's like, if you're a fan, you're going to go out and you're going to watch it anyway, and you already know the story that I'm spoiling. And if you're not really that much of a fan, and you've not been keeping up with animes and stuff, you're probably not going to go and watch it anyway.
Yeah.
So, if you're worried about spoilers, once again, I say, fuck you.
Do you fancy this?
Not really.
Not a big fan. That was a hand gesture for the audio podcast. A vague one. Do a bird hand. Yeah, I'll probably check it out during the week. Is it on Netflix or anything like that?
No, it's kind of to
Pay
buy.
stream.
It's to buy at the moment, so iTunes, things like that.
Cool. Alrighty. Well, I think we'll wrap ourselves up in a nice wee bow right about there. D, how did we do for time?
I killed it.
Oh,
Of course I killed it.
About 5 minutes over.
are we? Oh, that's not too bad.
So we can still go for another 25. So
It's kind of like that thing. I've eaten that crisp. I may as well just throw my diet in the bin for the day. Right. So, can you pop us up onto a little sign-off card there, Dr. Zane?
probably not. I can never remember where it lives. This could all go wrong. Yeah, that's a black screen.
Hiya. I've gone and done it, haven't I?
Hello.
Hello, is anybody out there? There we go. And we're back. So,
Just
just
call
want to
that
say
a
thanks.
really slow fade.
Nice. Just want to say thanks to the guys that jumped into the chat room. That was awesome. And for everybody that's kind of downloaded and subscribed to the podcast so far, just search for Tenuous at Best in your podcast app if you've not done so already. You can catch us on your phone or any other podcasting device. So that's going forward. We've also got a new podcast we've added in this week, belong to the project that I'm involved in, the Stereo Vandals. You can now search for Stereo Vandals game tracks in your podcast app, and it's basically DJ mixes are like a couple of hours long each. New ones coming out every week or so, just for gaming too, really. It's just kind of upbeat, drum and bass, dubstep, all that kind of stuff. So that's a new tool in the tool shed, as it were. You can get hold of me on Ratworks, www.ratworks.net, and handing over to Zane with his stuff.
Yo, question first. Is this licensed music on the how is this working with the game tracks?
The Game Tracks podcast is done under Open PRS.
Yeah.
So
if you were a live streamer, Twitch streamer, for example, looking for
I
some
wouldn't be
sort
playing
of
them at the same
bedrock,
time because you would get lynched because you don't have a PRS license.
just thought we might clarify.
That's
Yes.
it.
Anyway.
No, this is purely for people doing recreational listening. It's not for dealing.
Yes, you can find me in all my sarcastic splendour on youtube.com/SaneGamingTV, where at the moment I am trudging through. That sounds terrible. It's a very stealthy
You're
game.
not enjoying yourself?
It's a very stealthy game, so it's quite slow, but trudging is not the word I would use. Wait, sell yourself there, Zane.
Yeah.
Where
I'm
I'm,
going to sign up right now.
where I am playing, fuck it, Dishonored. There is fairly soon, next month I believe it is, Dishonored 2 comes out. Or is it a couple of months? No, it's November. A few months time, Dishonored 2 comes out, so in preparation for that, and due to the entire summer being sucky for games releases, I am currently working my way through the original, and it's interesting.
Worst advert ever. That's a great face. I told you to go and buy Inside and do that for a day, you'd be fine.
Yeah.
No, I'm actually really enjoying the Dishonored series because I never actually played Dishonored at all, so I didn't even know what it was about at all. So I'm enjoying the story aspect of it especially, and I think it does stealth a lot better than like Thief did. So I'm probably going to give it a spin actually.
Well, better than the last version of Thief, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh God, I'm not going to go back in that. I've had so many rage rants about that. And you get D down there who seems to have gone incognitus, turned into some bananas. But you can get us next week, same time, 8:30 GMT. GMT would be right, yep.
Buy my bananas.
There you go, he's got bananas. He's got a whole bunch of them. Yeah, catch us next week, same time, on this here channel. You can follow us in the meantime on @10atbest on Twitter. You can grab us on facebook.com/tab podcast. And if you want to sign up or subscribe, you can go to www.tenuously.com. So from me, Mr. K and the land of Ratworks, the Stereo Vandals, and that guy there, Zane, we'll see you next week.
And since I didn't say often enough, don't be a dick.